Hi, little eagles. It's Mrs. Beers. We've been talking in science about living and non-living things and plants. So if you haven't watched my previous videos about living and non-living things, or my video about planting a seed, please make sure you do that after this. So plants need water, air, sunlight, soil. They need all of those things to grow. A plant is a living thing. They reproduce, they drop seeds, and they reproduce. So outside, if you look outside your window right now, I see trees, I see grass, I see flowers, I see different sorts of bushes and plants. So outside, not every one of those plants was planted by a person. They reproduced on their own. They produced seeds, they dropped them down to the ground, and things carried them off, and it spread around the world. So I'm going to read to you today a story with permission from Scholastic. It's called The Tiny Seed, and the author and illustrator is Eric Carle. This story is going to show us some examples of how seeds travel and move and grow. So let's begin. All right. It was autumn. A strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high in the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is tiny, smaller than any of the others. Will it be able to keep up with the others? And where are they all going? One of the seeds flies higher up than others. Up, up it goes. It flies too high, and the sun's hot rays burn it up. But the tiny seed sails on with the others. There he is. Another seed lands on a tall and icy mountain. The ice never melts, and the seed cannot grow. The rest of the seeds fly on, but the tiny seed does not go as fast as the others. Now they're flying over the ocean. One seed falls into the water and drowns. The others sail on with the wind, but the tiny seed does not go as high as the others. He's way down here. One seed drifts down into the desert. It is hot and dry, and the seed cannot grow. Now the tiny seed is flying very low, but the wind pushes it on with the others. Can't live without water. Finally, the wind stops, and the seeds fall gently down on the ground. A bird comes by and eats one seed. The tiny seed is not eaten. It's so small that the bird doesn't see it. Now it is winter. After a long trip, the seeds settle down. They look as if they are going to sleep in the earth. Snow falls and covers them like a soft, white blanket, and a hungry mouse that also lives in the ground eats a seed for his lunch. But the tiny seed lies very still, and the mouse does not see it. Now it is spring. After a few months, the snow has melted. It is really spring. Birds fly by, the sun shines, rain falls. The seeds grow so round and full they start to burst open a little. Now they're not seeds anymore. They are plants. First, they send roots down into the ground. Then their little stems and leaves begin to grow upwards towards the sun and air. There is another plant that grows much faster than the new little plants. It is a big, fat weed, and it takes all the sunlight and the rain away from one of the small new plants, and that plant dies. The tiny seed hasn't begun to grow yet. Will it be too late? Hurry! But finally, it too starts to grow into a plant. Here are the roots way down below, growing down, down, down deep into the ground. Here is the stem shooting up and the leaves on the plants. And here's that big bad weed. who's taking all of the sunlight and the water away from this plant, and he is going to die. The warm weather also brings the children out to play. They too have been waiting for the sun and the springtime. One child doesn't see the plants as he runs along, and he breaks one. Now it cannot grow anymore. There's that little plant from the little seed. The tiny plant that grew from the tiny seed is growing fast, but its neighbor grows even faster. Before the tiny plant has 3 leaves, the other plant has 7. And look, a bud, and now even a flower. But what is happening? First there are footsteps, then a shadow looms over them, and then a hand reaches down and breaks off the flower. A boy has picked the flower to give to a friend. It is summer. Now the tiny plant from the tiny seed is all alone. It grows on and on. It doesn't stop. The sun shines on it and the rain waters it. It has many leaves and it grows taller and taller. It is taller than the people. It is taller than the trees. It is taller than the houses, and now a flower grows on it. People come from far and near to look at this flower. It is the tallest flower they have ever seen. It is a giant flower. All summer long, the birds and bees and butterflies come visiting. They have never seen such a big and beautiful flower. Sure is pretty. Now it is autumn again. The days grow shorter, the nights grow cooler, and the wind carries red and yellow leaves past the flower. From petals, some petals drop from the giant flower and they sail along with the bright leaves over the land and down to the ground. The wind blows harder. The flower has lost almost all of its petals, and it sways and bends away from the wind. But the wind grows stronger and shakes the flower. Once more, the wind shakes the flower, and this time, the flower's seed pod opens. Out come many tiny seeds that quickly sail far away on the wind. So, just like the book started, there were all of these seeds that were blowing in the wind. All of those seeds came from a flower, just like it had turned into. So, boys and girls, that is how some of those seeds outside grew into those plants that we see every day. So, friends, thank you so much for coming and listening to Mrs. Beers read her story. I am so glad that you joined me. Make sure you check back on Maple Ridge's YouTube channel for more videos from me about our science activities. And I hope you are taking good care of those plants. Till next time.